I'm going to introduce now the second Next Fest stream for Hardlight, a tower defense in the dark. This is the inaugural release for Sonderian Games studio, a studio of 4 developers here in the US. My name is Wroble. I am a co-founder, developer, and designer for Hardlight. We have 3 other team members: Dan Larkin, another co-founder, designer, and developer, along with Joe Pesley, who shares the same title. And our final member of the team is Eric Aubrey, a co-founder and audio guru, who's had experience in film and television, and is responsible for all the sounds that we're going to hear in the game demo today, as well as the full game. So that goes for sound effects as well as the full music that we'll be hearing. Hardlight is a tower defense set in the far distant future, where our heroes have harnessed the power of light in an effort to colonize space. And in doing so, they've encountered something strange. Enemies have poured out, and their origin and nature is largely mysterious and will be doled out over time, so I won't spoil anything. But what's unique about them is that they operate in a different material plane. And what that means for our heroes is that we need to illuminate these enemies in order to not only see them, but to hurt them. And that's the critical piece here of this defense that we'll be attempting in this solar system. And so let's take a look at the system that we'll be operating in today. And if you caught the stream yesterday, you'll have seen that we defended the first 3 levels of the total 5 levels that are available in the demo. And they all are taking place on this first planet, Kalleto. The final game is going to include 3 planets total, with at least 36 maps. So there'll be much more to explore with different sort of environments. And so for the demo today, let's take a look at Kalleto. Like I mentioned yesterday, we had completed levels 1, 2, and 3. And in doing so, and each time we successfully defend an outpost, we're going to be receiving abilities for a WISP, which I'll show you in just a second here. We'll also receive skills, points that we can be spending on a skill tree that can let us tailor our defenses really to what fits best for us. And so I mentioned the WISP. They are a flying drone that allows our defenses to react a little bit more on the spot, put fires out, so to speak, when we're handling our defense. And so if we go to the top menu here and we look at our abilities, and there's a little icon for our WISP, and click that, we can see our WISP up close, as well as some of the abilities that we have currently unlocked. The full game will include 11. During the demo, you'll end up having access to 3. And so the first ability here, for example, is the Loom Lance. This fires shards at the ground. Shards stick to the enemies and illuminate them for a time, detonating when the enemy is killed. So you can see again that this illumination is a really critical piece. In order to defend, again, we need to illuminate our enemies so that our damage and our towers can actually hurt them. The other ability that the WISP has is this photic sweep, which is a large laser beam that pans from one side of the map to the other, heavily damaging and destroying enemies in its path. And so for right now, these are the two abilities we have unlocked of the 3 total slots we can equip for this WISP. And the other thing to note is that abilities, the more we use them, the stronger they're going to get. And so if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see achievements. And I've started to make a bit of progress here, hitting the wall, impact 500 enemies. I've completed 9 of 500. And if I were to achieve all 500, I'll end up getting this pretty substantial plus 75% damage to enemies hit by the wall. And so if you find yourself really gravitating towards a particular ability, using that more and more is going to really just increase your experience, increase the effectiveness of that. And so we jump back out to the system view and we can take a look at the skill tree very quickly. And it looks like I have 1 skill point here that I can be spending. So let's do that. Here we have our skill tree. It branches out into multiple avenues here. We really do want to focus on the player tailoring to their own preferences. If you find that you gravitate towards a particular set of towers or type of towers, you'll be able to spend points here in the skill tree and upgrade those abilities, upgrade those towers so that they work more effectively and work with your particular playstyle. The one ability that we have unlocked already is this all damage. So increase all damage to towers, all damage towers by 5%. And that's pretty great. It's a bulk increase across the board. So that was pretty easy for us to select first. We do have one additional ability, or excuse me, skill point. So I'm going to take a look at what I might want to spend that on. And I think then, looking at these, we have increased kinetic tower damage by 8%. Several of our towers fit this criteria, kinetic. We have the photoclaster, which we used quite a lot in the last stream, and we also have something called the luminous maul, something we haven't unlocked yet, but the photoclaster is a pretty important piece of our arsenal currently, so I'm gonna spend this point and upgrade. Awesome. Okay, so I have 2 of my 2 skill points spent. I am good to exit this skill tree. Okay, awesome. And so we have our setup configured. I have my skills spent, my abilities reviewed. I think I am ready to move on to the next outpost here to defend, which is Kalleto 4. I am pretty good at this game. I'm not the best at this game, so I think I'm going to leave the difficulty to normal, but I can boost it if I do need an increase of challenge, or if I'm having too hard of a time, I can decrease it to easy. I think we'll start with normal and see how things go. The other thing that's pointed out here is that each time you defend an outpost, you're going to receive some XP. And additionally, you'll receive potentially some rewards. So that might be in the form of WISP abilities, or it may be in the form of additional tower unlocks. And so let's take a look now at Kalleto 4. I'm going to click launch to jump into the map and see what we are dealing with. Okay. Alright, so I'm scrolling out just to get an overview of what we have here. And it looks like I have my energy sphere here at the center. This is the thing we need to defend against the enemies that will be appearing out of these portals. And I can see that there's a sort of pathway connected to a sort of sharp shape here with some energy. And it looks like we have 2 of them on this map, so I need to be conscious that there will be enemies coming from at least two directions as they follow along this path and make their way towards the energy sphere here. And above my energy sphere, helpfully, is the WISP, floating ever so gracefully. Again, this WISP is useful for kind of putting out fires or helping out where the towers currently maybe need a little bit more support. Definitely considered more of a support character, support entity out here. And so I'm gonna move him first. I typically like to put the WISP into a nice location where they can end up helping out an emergency. And it looks like no matter what is gonna happen here, the enemies will have to enter at this choke point here, this intersection. So I'm going to place the WISP over that particular path, and I'm going to move on to the very critical step of lighting the map here. Like I mentioned, the enemies are of a different material existence, and so we do need to illuminate them in order to make them solid and make them able to be hurt by our damage towers. And so that's a critical piece. If we have no illumination, our towers cannot see them and cannot hurt them. And so let's start with illumination. On our options for towers to build here, we have the first category, which is the illumination category. It has a little spotlight icon there. And we currently have access to 2 types of illumination towers. We have a point and we have a chase. The cheaper of the 2, the point, is going to be my first thought here. And if I place one down, you'll see that the tower is built and light is spread to the path in front of it. It'll automatically figure out where you want to illuminate, kind of based on the closest path. But we can also aim this if we need a particular location illuminated more. And you'll see that the path kind of changes underneath. And that shows that that path is illuminated, and enemies that appear over it will be seen by our towers and hurt. And I can confirm that if I jump into the tactical view, I see now a readout of all the illumination for the paths on this map. And so in this corner here, where I have this single spotlight, this single point light, we have illumination of 1 and a 0.3 as it spreads away from the area where the tower is aiming. And so illumination will spread, but anything on this 1 tile is going to receive full damage, and anything on this 0.3 tile will receive 30% of the damage. So it's important then to ensure we have a good coverage of light throughout this map so that the damage is being applied effectively to the enemies that will appear. And so let me continue this process of illuminating, and I am going to think here. I do want to make sure that I have some spaces left for the damage towers, which will use any of these slots next to the paths. And so let me place one down here, and I'm going to aim this one further up the path just so I am making sure this area is covered. It looks like this choke point is covered decently, but honestly, I think we're going to need another one. Yeah, let's place... You know what? Let's place one of the other illumination towers. So I'm going to select the chase tower and build one of these. So the chase tower is dissimilar from the point tower in that it will attempt to follow enemies and point a spotlight directly down on the path, illuminating it as it goes. So they're more dynamic and can kind of keep up with the action a little bit more, whereas the point towers are going to be fixed, unless I come over and manually make some adjustments. And so we don't see that the illumination is applied here, but we will once the enemies come to this area or come within range of the chase light. Okay, let me zip along here and place some more illumination just to cover the bases. Honestly, we'll go... I do gravitate towards the outer tiles. I end up putting more for the illumination towers and leaving the interior tiles more for the damage towers, just so that they have a more effective area of effect. They're able to reach more of the enemies, assuming that they are illuminated. And so we have this corner covered pretty well. We have our choke point covered decently. I'm gonna see if I can push this up a little bit and spend... we have 265 credits still left to spend, so I'm not quite running out yet, but I do need to be conscious that I do need to save some for the damage towers to be placed. Okay, so we're getting some decent coverage. I think I'm almost done with the illumination. I'm going to just cover my bases back here and place a few more. Okay, so let's start thinking damage. We have a couple of towers currently available. That photoclaster I mentioned a little bit ago. This is a long-range tower that fires an energy projectile that detonates above the enemies and rains down a sort of group damage. So this is great for small hordes of enemies that are attacking the energy sphere. And so the other thing to point out here is that it has a minimum range, given that it is an explosion-based weapon, a kinetic weapon in this case. It needs to be conscious that we can't just shoot right next to us, otherwise we're going to risk hurting ourselves. So this is not a good fit, because we're going to end up not being able to kind of capitalize on this junction. So let me look at another position for the photocluster, and that's better. It's going to be able to hit at least this important junction as well as this other one that I've spent some illumination on. All right, the other tower I'm going to look at for this is the spin rays. This launches a high-speed energy disc that can bounce between enemies. So it's going to target a single enemy, but it has the opportunity to bounce beyond them. Given that many enemies are going to be colliding in this section, I think that's going to be a good candidate. So I'm going to place one of those spin rays there. I'm also going to take a look at the rotospark. This is a high fire rate single target tower, sort of like the machine gun, so to speak, but it will help chip away at that health of the enemies coming in. The final tower that we haven't seen so far is a Nova Bolt. So this is a single fire or single target tower, high range, high power. So great for single targets that have an enormous amount of health, which we'll definitely be seeing as the map unfolds. This again has a huge range, so really going to be able to get a lot of bang for buck here. And I think that's a decent spot for it, and honestly, I might double down, but I think I'm excited to see these spin rays in action here, so I'm going to spend some more for spin rays there. Looking at my credits, I still have 150. That's a decent amount, so let's make sure we share the love here. And let's throw down a few more things and get into the action a little bit as quickly as we can. Okay, looking pretty good. I am going to throw a couple more of the Nova Bolts. They're very possibly my favorite tower in the game, so I definitely have a bias. But they've also saved me many times, so bias earned, maybe. Okay, 55 left. I think then with this remaining, I'm going to start to invest in some upgrades. So this point light, I am going to increase from a level 1 to a level 2. This is going to increase the range that I can aim it, and also importantly, it's going to increase the intensity of the light here. So let me go ahead and upgrade that, and we'll see that tower has gotten a little bit bigger. And if I look into the illumination here, we see that that's spreading out from that central point. I've got 20 left, so let's see what is the right move. I think I may, something I sometimes tend to forget is making sure that the home energy sphere here is protected in case my initial defenses don't do the job. When the enemies come in, they'll end up surrounding the home sphere. So I have my money spent largely. I got 10 extra. I'm gonna just hold on to that, and let's get started. I'm gonna click into this arrow and start launching the waves. Okay, and right away I see the portal opening up here, and it looks like we have some of the enemies starting to make their way down. Oh, the other portal also was dropping a few. It looks like I got that covered pretty decently. Okay. Alright, so we still have some coming out. Alright, so as my towers are defeating these enemies, I'm going to be able to upgrade my towers with the credits that I'm earning. Okay, and they're already making their way to the energy sphere, so I do need to be really paying attention to how I am spending these credits that are coming in. And so currently, yep, then now they're walking into the illumination, and my towers can begin their work. You know, this whole area is too dark, so I am going to try to spend some of my money, some of my credits here to fill out the remaining areas with some illumination. Okay, you know what? Okay, here, this is interesting. So this is a portal that's been dropped on the path. So now I need to be conscious that this is also going to release some enemies, which is going to be a big head start from the original portals that we saw down there. Oh, and one of my towers is currently under attack right now. And if they're able to successfully... Okay. Gratefully, I was able to defeat them. Now, if the enemy was able to complete its attack, it would have destroyed this tower in the corner, causing me to have to spend more money and basically lose money on that. I need to be spending some of these credits here, and I'm going to adjust the game speed time to slow things down and give me a little bit more breathing room. And let us make sure we're spending the credits as they're rolling in. We do have a game speed that can adjust, so as you're feeling more comfortable, you can speed things up and watch the carnage, or as you may need to get a little bit more strategic, we can slow things down and plan things out a little bit better. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I've got a couple of upgrades here in the center. I am going to be looking for more upgrades, but I can't afford them currently. So I definitely want to get this spin raise upgraded from level 1 to level 2. I need to wait until I've got 30 credits. So let's see if we can earn some. Okay. We have some of the enemies here. I should be able to chunk through them. And this is calling for, honestly, maybe I changed my mind. We're going photoplaster down here to help take care of these smaller guys. And I will additionally throw a chase light down to increase the amount of illumination that is occurring in this area. This chase light will move out to follow any enemies that enter its range here, indicated by this circle. Okay, so far so good. And you know, the other thing I need to be making sure of is that if I'm not using the WISP, I'm leaving some damage on the table here. So I definitely want to have the WISP in the top of my mind as things get a little bit harder, and that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so these big boys have an enormous amount of health, and it's really going to take quite a lot of time to work them down. So one thing I'm going to be able to do is take my Nova Bolt. This is kind of the sniper rifle, high range, high power, and I'm going to change this to strong. So this will now start to target the strongest enemy within its range, and that's going to help focus on these big boys instead of focusing on some of the smaller enemies that are coming in. Okay, 57 credits to spend. Let's spend those. I'm upgrading the spin rays in the middle and keeping a close watch on these enemies, and they are really making some progress. Let us use one of our WISP abilities here. So I'm going to use the photic sweep, place it in the corner, and aim it towards the enemies. Let's see what we can do. Okay, it hit him down a bit. It wasn't enough to put him down for good, though. I'm going to move my WISP back to the center just in case I end up needing them. But we do have one of the enemies defeated. That's critical. I'm going to upgrade this Nova Bolt here. Now, during the upgrade, the tower can't shoot, so it's important to time that. In that regard, maybe not the best timing, but I did want it to be doing more damage as quickly as possible, so I kind of took the hit of non-functional time there. Okay, definitely going to be able to work through this rear. Okay, yep, and you can see that the chase light was helping to amplify the damage, help amplify the illumination. We have one left. I think we're gonna be okay, but I also feel like it's time for another WISP ability. Let's use the photic shard. Okay, helping, but not enough yet. He'll be down in a second. Okay. Whew. Okay, 3 of those down. That takes some work, but we do get quite a bit of credits for that, so let's cash in, right? Let's get some upgrades going. I am going to focus not only on the damage towers, but I do need to focus on the illumination towers. So I'm getting my my chase light here upgraded, as well as my drone light. Now, this point light here has a circle around it, letting me know that an enemy is currently targeting it. If they were to make their way to this tower, they're going to end up attacking and potentially destroying it. So I need to keep an eye on this. And I'm not quite sure where the enemy is going to be coming from, but I will be conscious to... oh, it might have been that guy. Yeah, that one, that enemy... Oh, you know what? Speaking of attacking, that's what's happening right here, and we're going to hopefully take this out before... Okay, gratefully, it did not successfully take down this illumination tower, which would have been not only a surprise to me, I would have had to spend a bit more money. And I need to be very conscious about how I am spending these credits. Alright, 9 of 25. We're doing okay so far. We have 86 health in our energy sphere. I can see that some of the enemies have made it here as well by these fragments that are starting to obscure the light from this energy sphere. The more enemies that occur, the more we're going to see that light obscured. Okay. So far, so good. I am keeping an eye on this major junction here. As long as they're not getting through there, I think we're going to be okay. But as we saw earlier, sometimes we need to be keeping a lookout for any enemies that are attacking the towers directly, and maybe not going for our home base. Okay, let's get a little bit more love put into this corner. I think the photoclaster here, this is going to be doing group damage, is really critical. There's a lot of hordes coming around this corner, and I want to make sure that this path is covered. Now I see some of my paths, specifically this one, is been disabled, and that's because a spawn portal has been dropped here. Some of the flying enemies will drop a spawn portal when defeated, so the further along they get, the more stressful that's going to be for my defense here. Yeah, okay, we got some crawlers coming out as well. And I'm not sure when things will come through here, but I do know that they're gonna be pouring out there. Okay, and as if on cue, we have them pouring out. Okay, 60 credits to spend. I don't think I can get any of my towers up to level 3, but I can be upgrading some of the illumination. Let's do so. I definitely need to focus a little bit more on this area, so an upgrade for the rotospark here. But I'm starting to feel a little bit more confident. Alright, I'm gonna bump the game speed up to 1 times. Let the currency accrue a little bit quicker. As well as keep an eye on any upgrades I can be making. So let's upgrade this point light here, get a little bit more illumination out here. And I have a Nova Bolt that looks like it might want an upgrade. Yeah, let's upgrade that. It's able to cover this path, so that's really getting a lot of use here. Awesome, awesome. Okay, feeling more confident, more comfortable. Okay, we have a couple of these flying enemies. Yep, and they're dropping these spawn portals. Okay, so I do need to be careful of that. Okay, let's see what happens here. And some of our towers are being targeted. I can see by this ring here. Okay, let's get some WISP abilities out here. Okay, a little bit of burst. I really only... Yep, I hit these 2. So this shard is going to keep this particular enemy illuminated for a little bit of extra time. I wasn't able to capitalize, though, because I did not have any towers over on this side, which I think is something I should be fixing. Let us... What are we doing? Rotospark here. Let's also get a Nova Bolt here, and I want to spend a point light. This is going to now get much better coverage for this particular path. I've got 130 points to credits to spend. Let us get Spin Rays upgraded one more time. And so this is definitely going to be having a decent amount of bouncing of ricochet shots that are going to be applied across the enemies. Awesome, awesome. All right, this is starting to melt. Okay, all right, we have now our biggest enemies we've seen so far. These particular enemies have a lot of health and more unnerving. They also drop a horde of these smaller enemies, that come pouring out once we defeat them. So even though we get part of the way there, we do need to be prepared for that additional horde to come pouring out of the carcass. Okay, awesome. All right, held off pretty well. We're at 84 health and doing pretty good. I'm gonna rush a wave. I really don't know if that was a wise thing, but I'm gonna express some, show a little bravery here and see if I can keep up with the action. Now, I'm getting some towers that are targeted, so I do need to be conscious. Yeah, this one's being targeted. Let's see if we can have the other towers take him out before it's time. Should I upgrade? I don't know. I shouldn't have done it. That was a mistake. Oh, okay, we lost one. That's not great news, but I do have points to spend. Let's slow down the game speed and spend those points. I want to be not losing out on any of the damage that I couldn't be doing. So 262 Nova Bolts are getting the upgrades. Those are my favorites. And I can, if I'm like running low on credits, but I'm feeling confident, I can rush waves, and that will give me a bit of extra credits, sort of rewarding you for that bravery, which may or may not be wise based on your situation. Okay, we're starting to melt them pretty well in the center point, but I don't want to let up. Okay, yep, we have, oh gosh. All right, so this large enemy, two large enemies coming out from a portal that is dropped along the path, so I have even less time to really be handling the situation. I definitely want to bring in the Wisp ability. Let's see if we can get some action going. So, okay, that helped melt a bunch of them. Okay, all right, beautiful. We're still holding things down. 84, holding at 84. This Photic Blaster is really doing a lot of work, so it deserves an upgrade. Let's give it some love. And I of course need to be making sure that that the home base is covered, because at this point they're really making their way back. Okay, we got another Nova Bolt. We replaced that. All right. Nova Bolt upgraded. We cannot afford another upgrade for the Nova Bolt, but we can. Let's start putting some love out here for our Illumination towers. Okay, holding off pretty well. 83 health. It's holding steady-ish. I definitely want to get this spin raise upgraded again, so I'm gonna wait until I get 78 credits up to 81. One more. Okay, there we go. Okay, we have a level 3 spin raise, 2 level 3 spin raises here in the center. That is making me a lot more comfortable. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, let's see how we do. We have a bunch of portals dropped along the path here, so I am gonna be conscious that this is gonna get hairy pretty quickly. Let's move the Wisp over in preparation. And honestly, I'm gonna prime this Photic Sweep ability, and this will set an energy wall that kind of melts everything it passes. I can aim this, which my intention is to aim it down this path here. Once I start to see some scariness, so I'm gonna look at bold three rushed. Let's see if we can get good use out of this Photic Sweep. Okay, we're going back to full-time speed, feeling a little bit more comfortable. And you know what? Okay, Photic Sweep, let's go. Let's see if we can get these guys. Okay, awesome. That was an additional, I think, 400 damage. That really helped out there. And so now we can at least focus on this front runner and leave those carcass hordes that are coming a little bit further back. Give me more time to work with it. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right, let's keep it going. This Photic Blaster, this needs an upgrade. This Chase Light, we're getting an upgrade for that. And I do definitely need to upgrade this Rotospark. It's in such a critical spot. It deserves an upgrade. Okay, so the center point is covered pretty well. I'd love to get some more lights in there, but it doesn't look like I have much ability to do that. I might be able to reach one from down here. Yeah, let's aim this further down. Okay, I'm gonna go into tactical view and take a peek at, yeah, okay, so we're getting 2.5 times lighting in this particular square. So that means the illumination is 2.5 times your normal amount, which also means, easy math, 2.5 times damage applied to enemies. So that is making me very comfortable, or a lot more comfortable. This whole path is really honestly getting hit pretty hard. I'm gonna make sure I spread out some more light so that those damage multipliers are very high. Okay, and you know what? My new light just got targeted by probably one of these flying enemies. So that may be a loss, but honestly, it was a level 1. Not that worried. Still melting face. Yeah. Okay. All right. Love to see it. Love to see the destruction. All right. I'm feeling like we made some decent moves here. This is going to get an upgrade. My point light here. Let's see what numbers we're looking at. It might still be 2.5, 1.2 on the edges. Okay, let's upgrade this. This roto spark in the corner, and it can actually reach this junction point easily enough. So that's really good to see. It's getting even more bang for buck there. Okay, I think this could use a Nova Bolt. It's still going to be able to apply hurt on the junction. Perfect. And you know what? Also, this probably could use an upgrade. See if I can get that light spreading a little bit more. Yep. And so upgrading that has spread the light out from the corner, 1 extra tile. And you know what? Let's see if I can see how much bang for buck I can get for this corner piece. Okay, awesome. So now we have that fully connected. I'm going to confirm in tactical view. Yeah, 1111.5. Okay, so this whole path is largely illuminated, aside from the first tile here. Okay, looking good so far. I've got lots of currency to spend. Let's make sure I'm doing so. Okay, photoclaster upgrades. Nova bolts always get an upgrade. In fact, we're getting some more Nova bolts out here. I'm going to just immediately start upgrading them from level 1s to level 2. This can go from level 2 to level 3. That's honestly such a huge jump. It's worth saving for the level 2 to 3 upgrade. Okay, feeling pretty good. I'm going to spend a bit more on my photoclaster there. This has not received a level 2 upgrade, so I'm gonna also spend some of my credits on that one. And let's see if we can get the rest of this map filled out with some illumination. And we'll have pretty much full coverage shortly, I think. Still got some to spend. 53. I'm going to start saving up for those pretty expensive level 3s. I'm going to increase game speed. I'm feeling pretty good. So good, I'll even be bold and rush away. Okay, things are flying. Let me see, slow the game speed down a little bit. And the other thing, you know, I'm taking a moment here amongst the action to kind of point out, we do have this camera able to go pretty much right up into the action. It was really important for us to create an immersive experience. There's a lot of 2D tower defense games that we've loved over the years. Being able to kind of invest into the 3D environment, into the atmosphere, into the world was really important for us. And so having these camera controls that let us get up into the action was a big piece of putting this together. The other thing that we should mention, or I should mention about this, is that while we're up in the action here, we do have spatial audio to kind of help bring that immersion around. So if I hear towers over on my left, I'm going to hear those towers firing on my left side of my headphones, same for the right side. And so that just kind of helps blend you into the environment, especially as you're doing pretty well. You may want to kind of kick back a little bit more when you can and enjoy the carnage that you've created for yourself, really. Okay, 470. I need to be spending this. I can't get too relaxed here. I'm getting some towers targeted over on the left-hand side. I do want to, let's just upgrade them. And that's going to make sure they can defend themselves fairly well. We have a level 3 chase in the center. I think almost everything in the center area here has been leveled up to level 3 at the current max level. Yep, taking a look around. I can upgrade this point light. I'm going to do so. I'm going to upgrade some of the frontline defenses a little bit more now. With spin rays here, definitely maybe second favorite tower deserves a little bit of love. The photoclaster is such a critical worker. I will make sure to spend a bit of energy there. And as always, I have to make sure I circle back around for Illumination. Illumination is really going to multiply any investment I made up until this point. I'll get more out of it if I can see the enemies better. If they're more well lit, they're going to be more easily hurt. It's going to increase that damage multiplier, which we're currently seeing in action right now. And I can always review that by looking at the tactical view here. I'm reminded on the left side of the screen a little info about this, but right now we have a 2.5 times illumination factor in the center. This sort of clutch point, I keep calling it this. And that means 2.5 times the damage will be applied. So if I, for example, take a look at, let's look at the spin rays. This is doing 16 points of damage each time. Oh, now I chose a good one for math. So this would end up being 32 plus 8, 38 points of damage in this 2.5 times section. Now, don't check my math, but I might be right. Okay, enemies are still pouring in from their spawn portals. I do need to keep an eye on these dropped spawn portals, so I can't always be sure that the ones I see out here are the only places the enemies will appear. But after a certain point, we do see that they'll go away, and some, it looks like these two still have a little bit more life in them. So let's keep an eye on those. Oh, and we do have one in the center. So that means, if these big boys get dropped right in the center one, I'm gonna have like very little amount of time to kind of react. That's where the WISP comes in. This is the emergency put the fire out tool. The WISP can jump around and use its abilities to augment the towers and sort of fill the gaps where needed. And it looks like we have a pretty solid setup here. I'm gonna make sure I'm still spending my currency just so that any surprises along the way are handled with confidence. And of course I'm spending money on my Nova Bolts. Those are my favorites here. And I'm gonna spend a little bit more on these illumination components. Okay, I need to save up a little bit more to get this particular point from level 2 to level 3. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna increase the game speed now. Feeling pretty confident. We're at wave 23 of 25, and I'm gonna just rush the final waves here. I think, and let's just zoom out and sort of see what we have. All right, feeling pretty good. I mean, things are getting eliminated almost as quickly. Even these large enemies are getting melted almost as soon as they come out. And that's a product of me lighting that particular area and having enough damage towers to apply hurt in that illuminated area. I mean, what was a good idea for them has turned into a pretty bad idea, and the rules of Kung Fu one at a time is really helping us out here. Okay, amazing, and we're gonna be able to handle this one really easily. Okay, awesome. I feel so comfortable. I'm gonna take a sip of tea. And I'm using WASD to move the camera around right now. I can also use Q and E to rotate. We do have a decent amount of shortcuts built into the game to try to make your strategic maneuvering all the quicker. All right, Wave 24 is really trying to put a punish on, but I at this point we're locked down. I mean, this central area has gotten so much illumination that it's really difficult for anything to make its way through. Okay, final wave. I may need to do some emergency maneuvers here, but honestly, I'm feeling confident. We have mostly level 3 towers built currently. A couple of enemies moving around. We're going to have a couple of hordes come pouring out, and there we are. All right, so the camera zooms in for the final piece, the final enemy, and we have victory. Okay, now let's take a look at our stats. For those that like the numbers, we do try to share as much as we can here. And so for the towers, we did a total of about 300,000 points of damage. That's amazing. They were able to destroy 2 of our towers, so those targeting rings really got to be kept an eye on. We have destroyed 1,800 enemies, so that is impressive. 44 reached the base. At 83 health, that's solid. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I'm getting some XP awarded to me, so I'm going to be leveling up and getting some skill points. I also am receiving an additional WISP ability here, which we can take a look at really quickly once we jump out. So let's jump out to the map select view, the system view, and I can always jump back to the system and see where we're working here. Right now we're just focused on Kalleto. But I did get a WISP ability I want to make sure I am going to be able to use next turn. And so we have Conductive Surge. Turns the spotlight facing downwards to illuminate enemies beneath. Okay, this is great. In situations where I do not have a path illuminated, I can use this particular ability to illuminate a path without actually having to place a tower. Now this is I believe a brief period of time that it'll be on, but pretty critical to have in my back pocket. And so now I have the full list of 3 abilities for the WISP. I also have a skill point that I was awarded from this last level, so let's go ahead and jump in very quickly and spend that point and try to make sure we're doing well. Let's look around here. We have Illumination Tower. This might be the one. I did lose a couple of Illumination Towers. This is going to increase the time it takes to destroy them, increase their health, so to speak. So let's upgrade this just to make sure that my Illumination is untouched. The more lights go out, the scarier it gets, but more specifically, the harder it gets. And let's jump into the final map of the demo. We're going to leave it at level difficulty normal. I felt like that was pretty good, and I think we're good to go. Here, let's leave it at normal. Let's jump right in. Okay. Well, this is seemingly simpler, but like we saw last map, enemies may drop spawn portals, carcasses may kind of bear out hordes of enemies, so just because there is one spawn portal on this map does not mean I can only be paying attention to one spot. We have our WISP floating happily above our energy sphere that we need to protect. The energy sphere has enough energy as well to illuminate the tiles around it, always, so that's sort of a freebie right out of the gate. So any enemies that are surrounding your base will have an opportunity to be hurt, no matter what. Okay, so the WISP, I'm going to move to this junction point. This is pretty straightforward so far, or so it seems. I have 2 major junction points here that I'm going to want to focus on. So let's focus on the one closer to the energy base, and I'm going to start placing some illumination down. I'm going to place... You know, I think I'm going to... Yeah, let's instead place a point light, which is going to aim right at this center point. I'm also going to place some chase towers down here, and that should help magnify the illumination along the path. For these outer edge placement tiles, I'm going to definitely focus on illumination, and let's just see kind of how much we can cover along the edge here. Any gaps is going to mean our towers can't see the enemies, and they're not going to be able to hurt the enemies. This one's pretty close, but I do want it to connect up here. I don't want to have any breaks, so I'm going to re-aim that point light. Alright, let's throw a couple more down around the edge here, and... Okay, wonderful. Let's see. A couple more point lights along the edge, and You know, it's good to buddy system with the chase light. That's going to end up having the chase light follow the enemies and apply the illumination beneath them. So that will magnify anything that's going on already at that point. And a couple more point lights. I have 190 left to spend. Let us spend it. Okay. Feeling pretty good. This is another major junction point. I'm going to make sure I get a point light focus here. This is really a critical spot. So let us manually aim that to that point. I'm also going to spread this one over here a little bit down the path. Okay, this is going, I know this is going to have, yep, good range for the Nova Bolt. Nova Bolt can hit both the entrance as well as the entrance to the home sphere. So that's what's definitely going there. I think I'm leaning towards Nova Bolt sort of on the perimeter here. They'll make sure that take care of any enemies that actually make it to the energy sphere here in the center, but also are actually able to kind of pick off on enemies as they make their way around the outer edge. The recent tower that we upgraded, or rather unlocked, the spin rays, is great for these bunched up moments, like these sort of funnel points. So I'm going to place one here towards the front end of the entrance to our home base. And I also, I'm concerned about this spot, so I'm going to spend a little bit more currency to get another point light and make sure that this entire path is illuminated. Awesome. Okay. So up front here, this is calling to me for another spin raise. I'll be able to get some ricochet off that, so that's good for groups. And I think then let's get a rotor spark out here. Again, great for rapid fire efforts. I need to think about the photoclaster. This is going to put some group hurt down. And I definitely want to make sure that it's covering this T here. And it looks like it is. And specifically, I need to keep an eye on this minimum range. So the white area is where the photoclaster will have its full effect. Okay, let's see. What about on the other side here? That looks pretty good for another photoclaster. I've got 30 left to spend. I think it's going to be a photoclaster up front to see if we can kind of chip away at the smaller hordes that arrive. Yep. All right, that's looking good. Let's launch this wave. I'm feeling confident. 15 to spend. Let's spend it. Yeah, Rotospark. Well, they already passed, but I think pretty decent. All right, only one of the initial, well, two of the initial wave, but handling that pretty well. Okay, looking good so far. This corner is unlit. I want to cover my bases. I can spend the 10 of the 13 credits I have to give illumination there. Now these enemies are in the dark and unseen until, yep, they step back onto that illumination. Awesome. Okay. All right, this is looking good, feeling good. Starting to accrue more of the credits, and I definitely want to start to look or think about some upgrades. Okay, this is doing 10 damage. This is doing 8 damage, fire rate 2.2, fire rate 0.5. Okay, so let's get an upgrade there in the corner. I think I'm gonna get some Nova Bolts here. This should be able to kind of cover the whole right edge. Okay, all right, we're starting to lose the battle a little bit. I think a photoclaster here. Yep, that will cover my T point here really well, and also handle some of the enemies that are actually making their way to the base. I should keep an eye on how I can be starting to leverage my WISP abilities. Let's see. Let's go in right now. All right, WISP coming in with an ability. Let's see if I can melt. Oh, some of them. All right, we got 3 or 4. If I timed that a little bit better, I think that would have been a bit more bang for buck, a little bit more valuable, but I did take out 3 of the enemies coming on. Okay, I'm gonna need to get some ricochet action coming out of the spin rays, so I need to do some upgrades. All right, perfect. All right, so 2 spin raises at level 2 in the center here. We have we have some upgrades to spend on on the Nova Bolts. Yeah, let's spend some credits on these Nova Bolts. If I repeat myself, it's only because it's true. Nova Bolts are my favorite. They're just reliable. Okay, awesome. All right, this is starting to feel like we're holding waves back. I'm gonna rush one, just to get them pouring out a little bit. Make sure that I keep my currency coming in, and let's put a little bit of a damage collection of towers here. So we got a Nova Bolt, a Photoclaster, and let's go for a Spin Raise. That's one of our newer ones. I'm excited to see that in action. And let us immediately go for a Spin Raise upgrade. That's going to increase the ricochet effect, so that will end up hitting multiple targets that are nearby, which in this grouping is really critical. Okay. Alright, enemies are getting by. I'm going to move my Wisp back over to this point and make sure that I'm not falling behind. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to increase the game speed. I'm feeling somewhat comfortable. I've got money to spend, so let us spend it. Alright, we're getting upgrades for our Nova Bolts. Enemies are still making their way to the home sphere, and I can see that my health has gone down to 70 from 100, as well as these fragments are starting to obscure the home sphere, which is a sign that it's getting hurt, getting weakened. Okay, this is a big gap. Okay, this is what's hurting me. I need to illuminate these points here. So let me place some point towers down. I'm going to also spread them out a little bit. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's get another little arsenal of damage dealers out here. Photoclaster and Nova Bolt combo. And let's just do another Nova Bolt just for fun. Okay, here's the first level 3 upgrade, I believe, on this map. That's going to really help out. So we have a Nova Bolt in this back area, able to do 30 damage per shot, and have an enormous range, so it's really going to be helping pretty much across the entire map, most of the map here. The other thing with this particularly strong Nova Bolt, I'm going to set it to focus on the strong enemy. Same for these other two, so that if we do get any of the big boys or the very high health enemies, we're able to get those chipped away at first. I can afford another one, and let me spoil myself. Okay, awesome. I think this front area needs some love. Let's get a Spin Raise out here. Let's get an upgrade for the Rotospark. I'm gonna get another Rotospark here and start to spend some of my credits on upgrades. A lot of our towers are still level 1. I have a couple of level 2s and just 2 level 3s currently. Okay. Let me make sure that I am doing a decent job here. Okay, let's get the Rotospark. No, I want point light here. This is a dark spot. I want to fix that. We're pretty well covered. Not incredibly though. We still have some gaps in our illumination. I can see this area is empty. I think I can get that. Yeah, I can get that covered if I move this guy over, or excuse me, move this tower over. Okay, it's doing a good job. Okay, let me get my Wisp. They are really handy in these sort of situations. I'm gonna bring the Wisp over here and have them... Okay, you know what? Didn't need it there. A little bit slow to the draw. But these portals are gonna... Yep, they're gonna still pour out some of the enemies. So let me get my Wisp back into place. And... Oh god. Oh gosh. Okay, alright. Alright, it's doing good. 59 health, that's... It's making me a little nervous. Alright, let's spend credits. Credits abounding. Let us spend them. No good in our pockets. Okay. Yeah, this particular portal is literally in front of our energy sphere, which is... Okay. Okay, it's gone. It's not going to cause us any more trouble for the time being. It's really important, and that's why I'm setting these towers to target... You know what? I need this one to target the first. Nope, not the first. The strongest. so that the enemies with the most health are taken down as quickly as possible by these long-range single-target towers. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna continue to upgrade our towers that we have up front here. And this should do, okay, this should do a lot. I am going to also bring the Wisp over here. I'm going to use this first ability, which is going to kind of tag these particular enemies, and they'll be even more illuminated, even more hurt by all the towers that are coming in. Let's see, let's get down low and make sure we're not missing anything. Okay, a portal is dropped here. Okay, that calls for some upgrades. You know it. You know it. Okay. Looking good. This photoplaster needs an upgrade. I think, yeah, we got one more after that. That is worth it. Certainly for the center area. Same for this edge. It's because it is covering the T. Okay. I'm gonna rush a couple waves. I'm feeling sort of confident. Hesitantly says. Okay. This junction's important. I definitely making sure I get the illumination upgraded. All right, this is a bit fast. Let's slow it down just a little bit. Okay, we're holding off. We're holding off really well though. 52 health on the home sphere, so not flawless, but decent so far. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna be super bold. We're just gonna rush the rest of them. Let's see if I can manage this rate of onslaught. Okay. Alright. Let me spend my credits before I lose them. Okay. Definitely I'm putting some love along the outer edge here. But at this point, I think I have things locked down pretty well. Barring any major surprises, I'm able to take the large enemies out with this enormous health pretty quickly. And so those that drop these spawn portals are dropping them gratefully very close to the entrance here. If you remember, I had one right next to the energy sphere, which was not so good because we could have a whole wave basically appear out of that portal right there, right next to the home sphere. It's like a shortcut for them. But at this point, we're melting face. All waves are rushed. We're at wave 23 of 25. 52 health on our base, and I mean these things are getting melted as soon as they come out. So why stop there? Let's put some more illumination down. This is again just going to apply a bigger factor of hurt onto these enemies as they make their way in. It doesn't hurt to throw a couple more rotosparks down. Let's do so. Awesome. Upgrades. Let's get them down. Yeah, and at this point, I think we have a pretty robust setup here. Awesome. 24 of 25, we're on the second to last wave. Still feeling pretty confident. I'm gonna make sure I'm spending my credits so that I do not fall behind. But our level of illumination up front is really letting us lay in so much hurt. We have a 2.5 multiplier, a 2.3 multiplier. And again, this is the level of illumination these tiles have. And so anything walking over those tiles is gonna end up taking whatever the base damage is times the illumination factor there. And that's really helping us here. Awesome. Let's put a little illumination in the corner just for those that make it beyond this heavily illuminated front area, and make sure I add a few of damage towers to bolster and kind of get some value out of that additional illumination. Okay. Melting faces. That's the name of the game. We do have a ton of these spawn portals strewn throughout now, and they're disabling the illumination on that tile, but our drone lights are kind of helping mitigate that issue, which is one of the many things that makes them delightful. Alright. Oh, a Nova Bolt that is unupgraded. That is a crime. Let's fix that right away. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Alright, this whole area has been bolstered. Okay, let's get a Wisp ability in place here. This should be pretty effective. Wisp is over, ability out. And, okay, that did chunk a good bit of damage. Didn't take them down, though. Okay. Looking good. Looking good. I mean, this is what you want to see. We're at 52 health. I don't think we've taken damage in a little bit here, which is really encouraging that our current setup is treating us well and doing enough damage to keep the enemies at bay. Because I have the credits, I'm gonna make sure I'm spending them though, just to make sure that anything that is getting by is gonna receive the same love that those before them got. Yeah, so it's almost as soon as these enemies are coming out, we're able to melt their faces. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And let's go into 4 times game speed just to let this final wave play out. But I'm feeling very confident, despite the array of spawn portals we have lining this front edge. Alright, final wave. I'm gonna hold off. Let's see how much extra credits I can accrue. I'm gonna keep my currency in my pocket. Let's just see what we can do. Alright, they're making their way up further, but still getting melted pretty well. And the final enemy. That means victory. If I take a look at my stats here, I can see that I did close to 300,000 points of damage. I think a little bit less than last round. We killed 1670, so 1,600 enemies, and we used 1 Wisp ability. I think I may have missed with one of those. But that was great. That was great, and we're getting a bit more XP, which I'll be able to spend on some more skill points. Awesome. All right. And here we are. We've hit the end of the demo. This is where I'm very happy to encourage you to wishlist, share, play, and talk about this game. We do have a Discord that is an active community where we're getting a lot of great feedback from players, and able to bounce ideas off and get all sorts of great ideas, as well as make sure that we're handling and designing a game that's really as fun as can be. We've all loved the tower defense genre for years, and we're just so excited to finally offer our own ideas and our own influences into this amazing strategic genre. We're so grateful for your time, and for those that have watched the stream. Again, please do wishlist, share, like, download, play, and discuss in our Discord. Again, my name is Eric. I am a co-founder here at Sonderian Games Studio for Hardlight, a tower defense in the dark. Tune in. Well, I'm sure we'll have some more streams throughout the week, and take care.